It's Thursday morning. You check your account. Everything looks normal. Then you glance at the metals screen. Silver is down 10%, just like that. Gold is down 3%, fast. Not a slow leak, a punch, like a floorboard snapping under your weight. And the talking heads will soothe you. Profit taking. Healthy pullback. Nothing to see here. Soft words, blankets over a fire. Because this isn't normal. This is a warning shot. 2 days of rally, gone. Silver dumps, gold drops. And the sleeping herd will shrug. They'll say, metals are volatile. They'll go back to the couch, back to the pension statement, back to the fantasy that the system is stable, but you're here because you feel it, that tightness, that knot. Because deep down you know this wasn't just a price move, it was a message. They can move the floor under your feet whenever they want. Imagine this. You wake up on a Friday, you tap your banking app, it spins and spins. Then it flashes a polite sentence, temporary technical issue. You drive to the branch. The lights are on, but the doors are locked. A handwritten sign. Please remain calm. And in that moment, something clicks. Your money was never really yours. It was permission. And permission can be paused. That's what this metals whiplash is screaming. The system is a casino, and they own the cameras. They own the dealers. They can change the rules mid-hand. When silver can drop 10% in a day, when gold can fall 3% like it's nothing, that's not the market misbehaving. That's the market showing you its teeth. Now listen, this isn't about predicting tomorrow's price. It's about understanding the trap you're sitting in right now, whether you admit it or not. Because these moves don't happen in a vacuum. They happen when pressure builds and something snaps. Here's what the TV never explains. Most people aren't buying metal. They're buying paper, contracts, promises, leverage, debt stacked on debt. And when the crowd gets too confident, when the rally gets too hot, the casino tightens the leash. Margins go up, collateral demands rise, and forced selling begins. Not because you chose to sell, because you were made to sell. That's how they shake the tree. That's how they harvest panic. When you're winning, they don't clap. They check your pockets, they ask for more chips, and if you can't pay, they liquidate you. Right there. No apology. Now zoom out. Why are millions of people even chasing safety in the first place? Because the safe options are a joke. Savings accounts paying crumbs. Bonds getting chewed up by inflation. Retirees watching groceries climb like a rocket. Insurance premiums rising like a flood. Property taxes creeping like mold. So people run toward hard assets. Gold, silver. And then, right when it feels like confirmation, the market whipsaws violently. Silver down 10%, gold down 3%. And suddenly the herd panics again. But the deeper problem isn't metals, it's the machine behind the curtain. Debt. Not your debt, their debt, the government's debt. The kind you never voted for, the kind you never signed for, but you're trapped paying anyway. And here's the ugly truth. They can't pay it back in real terms. They can only do two things, default or inflate. Default is the Titanic snapping in half, fast, loud, over. Inflation is the Titanic taking on water at night while the band plays. Slow, quiet, deadly, and they chose inflation. Because inflation is the perfect crime. They steal your purchasing power and call it economic management. They drain your savings and call it stimulus. They raise the cost of living and blame supply chains. Same money, less life. And when you complain, they hand you the safety net story. Relax, the FDIC protects you. Okay, let's read the headline limit. $250,000 per depositor, per bank, per ownership category. That's the talking point. Now here's the reality. Confidence doesn't break politely. A bank run isn't a spreadsheet problem, it's a crowd problem. Fear spreads faster than fire. Imagine this. Your neighbor tries to move his money. It fails. He tries again. It fails again. He texts his brother. His brother calls a friend. That friend posts online. And by lunch, the branch parking lot looks like a Black Friday sale. That's how it happens. And when the government steps in, they don't speak like a father. They speak like a referee. Remain calm. Be patient. Systems are being updated. Translation? You will wait. You will comply. You will accept the solution they roll out, because the solution is never more freedom. It's more control, more tracking, more rules, more gates, more locks. This isn't a theory, this is math. If debt climbs and currency units multiply, your lifetime savings buys less, same pension check, same social security deposit, more expensive everything. Your money doesn't have to vanish to ruin you. It just has to buy half as much. That's the trap. And this metals whiplash, it's the early tremor before the quake. Because when markets get this violent, it tells you something. The system is stressed, the plumbing is creaking, And when the pipes burst, the water doesn't ask your permission. Now we get to the part nobody wants to say out loud. The plan isn't to fix the system. The plan is to manage you inside it. When a system is too broken to repair, you don't repair it. You replace it. And you sell the replacement as modernization. Look at the direction of travel. Instant payment rails, real-time settlement, faster money, faster controls. FedNow went live July 20th, 2023. Instant payments infrastructure. Sounds convenient, and it can be, but it's also a foundation. A foundation for a world where money becomes programmable, where access can be throttled, where spending can be monitored, where permissions can be changed. And if you think that's crazy, understand this. Central bank digital currency isn't a rumor. It's openly discussed as a concept. And even when officials say, not yet, they're admitting the pressure exists. Here's the trap. They won't call it confiscation. They won't call it capital controls. They'll call it security. They'll call it anti-fraud. They'll call it stability. Imagine this. You wake up and there's a new rule. Not a law passed with fireworks, a rule, a policy, a temporary emergency measure. Your transfer limit is capped, your withdrawal is delayed, your account gets flagged for verification, your payment gets reviewed, and your bills don't pause. Your mortgage doesn't pause. Your property taxes don't pause. Your car insurance doesn't pause. Your prescriptions don't pause, but your money does. Because in their world, money is not property, it's permission. And permission can be revoked. Now hit it where it hurts. The retiree lifestyle. Imagine this. You planned it perfectly. You worked decades. You saved. You downsized. You avoided debt. You did everything they told you. Then it's 2026, 2027, 2028. Your grocery bill doubles. Your insurance jumps. Your utility bill looks like a car payment. Your grandkids' school fees rise. Your home repairs cost twice what they used to. And your safe retirement account? It's up in dollars, but down in reality. Because you don't eat dollars, you eat what dollars buy. And if you can't access your money quickly, if limits hit, if banks wobble, your lifestyle can collapse in weeks. Weeks. That's why this whiplash matters. Because it reveals the game. They slam the price down. They shake out weak hands. They trigger margin calls. They harvest panic. And then after you sell, after you give up, after you swear off metals forever, they let it rise again. Like a fisherman jerking the line. Like a casino resetting the table. This is not a free market fairy tale. This is a managed maze, and the sleeping herd will keep running in circles until the door locks. So what do? Not in Fantasyland? In the real world? You do what awakened people always do. You reduce exposure to the corrupt system, you get out of the paper maze, you build an exit, you move toward bearer assets, gold, silver, physical, not as a hot trade, not as a get-rich scheme, as survival, as freedom, as a lifeboat. Because physical metal does one thing paper can't. It removes counterparty risk. Let's say that in plain English. Counterparty risk is the risk that someone else has to keep a promise for you to be okay. Your bank has to promise you can withdraw. Your broker has to promise your shares are there. Your government has to promise the rules won't change. That is counterparty risk. Now look at your hand. If you hold a silver coin in your palm, whose promise do you need? Nobody's. It's not an IOU. It's not insured up to a limit. It's not a line in a database. It's real. It's there. That's why the system hates it. Because it's outside their reach. And this is where the metaphor becomes clear. Be your own central bank. A central bank issues money, controls money, moves money, prints money. When you hold physical precious metals, you're taking back a piece of that power. Not because you want to be a billionaire, because you want to remain a free human being, because you want an exit that still works when the screen goes dark. Now, let's address the fear. Silver dumped 10%, gold fell 3%. Is it over? No. It means the paper market is unstable. It means leverage is choking people. It means the casino is clearing the table. And it means you must understand the difference between price and value. Price is what the screen says today. Value is what protects you when the screen goes dark. And make no mistake, a screen can go dark. A bank app can fail. A broker can lock you out. A transfer can be pending. A hotline can be experiencing high call volume. But a metal coin in your possession? It doesn't need Wi-Fi. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't need a password. Let me show you the math in a way nobody forgets. Picture a simple grocery cart, bread, eggs, milk, coffee, a little meat. 5 years ago, that cart cost one number. Now it costs another. And the difference didn't come from greedy cashiers. It came from currency losing weight. Inflation doesn't need to look like a movie. It just needs to be steady. A slow leak in a tire. 2%, 4%, 6%. It doesn't sound scary until you do the compounding. Imagine you saved $200,000, your life's careful work. Now imagine inflation averages 5% for several years. At 5%, your purchasing power gets cut almost in half in about 14 years. 14. This isn't a theory, this is math. And retirees don't have 14 years to wait it out. You have prescriptions, heating bills, a fixed income. Now add another layer they won't mention. Insurance is not the same as access. You can be insured and still be stuck in delays, stuck in paperwork while your bills keep marching. And when the system feels pressure, it doesn't get nicer, it gets meaner. Rules change, thresholds change, definitions change. Today it's fraud protection. Tomorrow it's temporary stabilization. Now let's talk about paper metal, because this is where many good people get tricked. Paper metals are claims. 1 ounce gets promised to multiple hands. Nobody notices until everybody asks for delivery. That's when the music stops. And in a crisis, they don't say, "Sure, here's your metal." They say, "Cash settlement." They say, "Extraordinary circumstances." Translation? You get paid in the same paper that's failing. That's why physical matters. Not because you love shiny things, because you love certainty. Now imagine this. The news says there's a cyber event. Payments are intermittent. Stores put up signs. Cash only. And the sleeping herd discovers the truth. Numbers on a screen don't buy dinner when the screen goes dark. And don't miss the psychological trick. They slam the price. People feel pain. They swear it off. Then the next rally starts without them. They chase late. They buy the top. They get slammed again. It's a rinse cycle. A washing machine for your savings. The awakened don't play that game. They don't worship daily candles. They build a position like they build a storm shelter. Slow, solid, boring. Because boring is what survives. And imagine this. It's 2 years from now. A politician goes on TV and promises relief. They announce a new program, a new digital wallet, a new way to protect consumers. And it sounds helpful until you realize every help comes with a hook, a limit, a condition, a switch they can flip. And that's why you don't want all your wealth trapped behind their switches. You want a portion that's off-grid, not illegal, not hidden in fear, just outside the reach of instant rule changes. That's what physical metal is. A seatbelt, a fire extinguisher, a lifeboat you can actually touch. So when silver whips down 10% in a day, don't just see a red candle. See a stress signal. See leverage cracking. See forced liquidations. See the casino taking chips off the table. And then ask the real question. What happens next time when it's not just metals? Because once trust breaks, it breaks fast. And trust is the only thing holding this paper world together. Now, let's be responsible for a second. This is not personal financial advice. Only you know your situation. Do your own research. Talk to a qualified professional if you need to. But understand the principle. In a world of rising debt and rising control, you don't want all your lifeboats parked inside the same sinking ship. You diversify outside the system. Some cash for short-term needs. Some tangible assets. And for many people, especially retirees, physical gold and silver is a cornerstone of protection. Because if the next chapter involves more debt, more currency creation, more emergency rules, more restrictions, then the people who sleep through it will wake up broke. And the awakened, they'll already be in the lifeboats. Now let's talk practical, not romantic. Start small, stay consistent. Don't chase adrenaline, understand liquidity. Small denominations matter. Because in a squeeze, you don't want one giant brick you can't break. You want options, flexibility, control. And remember something else. The system will try to shame you. They'll call you paranoid. They'll call you dramatic. They'll call you a conspiracy theorist. Meanwhile, they change the rules in real time and call it risk management. Silver down 10%. Gold down 3%. In a flash. That's not stability, that's a warning. So here's the question. Are you going to wait for the next sign, or are you going to act while you still can? Because when the herd finally wakes up, the exits will be crowded, the premiums will be higher, the supply will be tighter, and the rules will be harsher. Imagine this. You decide to protect yourself, but you wait. You tell yourself, next week, after the holidays, after the next statement. Then one morning the news hits, a bank failure, a major payment outage, a temporary withdrawal limit, and suddenly everyone wants the lifeboats at the same time. That's when people discover the cruel truth. In emergencies, the price of safety goes up and availability goes down. Don't be the person pounding on the Titanic's door. Be the person who saw the iceberg while there was still time. Let the paper price whip around. Let them slam it down. Let them shake the tree. Because the real move is not chasing candles. The real move is stepping out of a system built to trap you. If you want to survive what's coming, subscribe to Currency Rewind. Not for entertainment, for preparedness. Because the next chapter won't be announced with sirens. It will arrive with updates, with temporary measures, with polite words hiding sharp knives. Stay awake, stay ready. And remember this. When the rules change, only real assets stay real.